Hello, today I will show you how you can use the Radial filter in Lightroom to make your subject pop and to take your photography to the next level. So without further ado, let's open Lightroom and let's jump straight in. Before I start, I heard a very interesting fact today. Did you know it would take you 32 years to count to 1 billion? 32 years to count to 1 billion. Just think how big that number is for you to count. If you started now, how old would you be if you finished 1 billion in 32 years time? How old would you be? It's just unreal how big of a number a billion is. Okay. That just blew my mind today. But anyway, I hope you're well. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. So we're going to jump straight into this. The other day I was at the zoo. And I saw this wolf. I was using a Canon 750D just to take some shots of some wildlife. I've never done any wildlife before, so this was a first for me, and to be honest, it was a massive learning curve because those animals do not stop. You could line up a shot and then they turn their head, that's it, the image is blurred. So I had to crank my ISO up, I had to open that f-stop, get that low f-stop number just to have that light in the image. So thankfully, this one animal stopped just in time so I could take this image. I was at ISO 400, 180mm, f-stop 4, and I had a shutter speed of 125ths of a second. So, quite a fast shutter speed. So before I jump into the Radial filter and show you how we can use that to optimize our images, first we need to take control of this image. This is a RAW file, so I recommend anyone shooting DSLR does shoot RAW. So to start off then, I'm just going to increase those shadows. Let's get those shadows up because this wolf does have dark fur, especially on the back and in the face. We all want to bring those shadows out in the face because that is our main subject. This beautiful little beast. Well, I can say little. He was absolutely ginormous. I'm also going to lower the black, so let's take care of the blacks as well. So we're going to bring that down ever so slightly. So our little beast is really starting to pop now, and I'm just going to increase the contrast ever so slightly because we've messed about with the shadows and blacks. I'm just going to counteract that with bringing up the contrast as well. There we go. It doesn't make a lot of difference, but it does have an effect whether you see it or not in the long run. What I'm not going to do, I'm not going to mess around with the temp or the tint because the camera actually did a fantastic job doing the white balance. So let's leave that. The exposure, I'm happy with the exposure. Highlights, I think I'm not going to play with them. They're okay, but what I am going to do though, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Double click. What I am going to do, I'm just going to bring up the clarity because I'm a big fan. Absolutely love clarity. If you go too far though, ew, no. What we want to do is just increase it ever so slightly. So again, it just brings that pop because we've emphasized the blacks, we brought up the shadows, and we counteracted that with the contrast. We have some leeway to bring up that clarity without losing any quality. So as you can see, there's not a lot of color going on in this image, so I'm not going to play around with the vibrance or saturations yet. Still a bit undecided, so I may come back to that, but at the moment with the basics I'm happy. Let's go down to the tone curve. So I'm just going to put my 3 little anchor points on the trend line, and I'm going to take care of some of the darks because I really want this wolf to pop. So I think using the shadows and the dark elements of his fur, I think we can really bring this out. So I'm just going to bring the darks down just ever so slightly. Again, I'm not subtle movements here, so I don't want to go too over the top. Just like that. Midtones, I'm just going to bring them down as well. Again, not too far. There we go. That is all I wanted to do with them. Oh, too far. And highlights, I'm just going to bring them down ever so slightly. So you can see where I'm going with this. I'm just bringing everything down to so it's all balanced. That's all I'm after at the moment. I'm not after anything groundbreaking. I just want it to balance. I'm going to press Y on my keyboard. I'm using Windows, so I'm just going to press Y. Let's just see if we're happy with that. So you can see now with the before image, it was just lacking that texture. I really wanted to bring it out. So at the moment, I'm happy with this. So that is good. No HSL sliders needed. So let's go straight into our radial filter. And we can see by clicking up here, it will bring up our custom new basic panel. So our main subject, our main focus in this subject is the face. The face, the texture, and the eye. This is what really stands out in this picture. So I'm just going to create a circle around his head. And look what happens here. I'm going to reduce the exposure. And look what happens now. The exposure is being affected outside of the circle, and it's not affecting all the hard work we've done to bring that face out. So I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to bring it down. Bring it down further. Bring it out just a little bit more. Again, you can go over the top with this. So again, I'm just what I should be doing. I should be looking at the top left here. So I'm going to bring it down ever so slightly. Too far. Again, I'm just playing with this to see where I can optimize where I'm going. So I'm going to press done. And I'm going to sit back and just have a look. See if I've gone too far. I don't think I have. But again, this is just a quick tutorial on this. So at the moment, I'm happy with the radial filter around his face. And I've just darkened the sky and not affected the face. So with that in place, I am now going to take care of this, because it did a good job bringing down exposure around the subject, but it didn't really take care of the highlights in the back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to counteract that by having an adjustment brush. So I'm going to make it slightly big, and then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to brush, just loosely brush around here. Loosely brush, there we go, and then have a hover around your selection, and then let's fine tune it just ever so slightly. Again, if you had more time, you would, take a bit more care over it. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to show you where I'm trying to go with this, and then I'm going to bring the exposure down just ever so slightly, so you can see it's just affecting that bit, and you can see where I've missed it. To be honest, again, try not to go over his fur. That will do. I'm going to press done. To be honest, I'm just going to have a look. I'm just sitting back, just having a look, see what I can do. Zoom in, zoom out, close one eye, squint, see if there's any distractions. What I'm going to do at this stage, I will crop it. I'm actually going for, I think I'm going to go for a 4x5. There's a empty space on the left, and I don't really need all his body in. As you can see, it's kind of dark on his fur, so I'm going to go for a 4.5, just so we can emphasize his face. Smack bang center of the image, and press done. Simple as that. Next thing, because I was far away, and as you can see, I was at 180 millimeters on the focal length, I didn't get the detail in his eye. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in, and I want to try to emphasize his eye to see if we can bring it out, because this is our main focus, as well as this textured area around his head. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press adjustment brush again. You can see where I'm going to go. So I'm just going to see if I can bring this color back. That's all I'm trying. I'm not trying to manipulate anything that wasn't there. I'm just trying to bring back something that was there. So I'm going to go up to the temp, try to find that color. Find that color. There we go. I think we've got, you can see he's got a bit of an orange eye. So I think if we settle at temperature 40, I think we're okay. I'm going to bring up the exposure ever so slightly as well to emphasize the color. Again, subtle movements. There we go. At the top here as well, if I had more time, again, I would do this in Photoshop, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to roughly do it up here. You can see the two reflections on the top of his eye where the light was coming down. I want to emphasize them as well. Again, just bringing up the exposure ever so slightly. With this one, I'm just going to bring it up just there. Not too much, not too much. Just so there's some definition there, and there's some interest and some drama. Now with that said, I'm going to zoom out. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, I do like that. I'm going to bring it down ever so slightly on the sharpening because I think it's gone a bit too far. Right, I'm going to leave that at 25. So the last thing and the most important thing is to press Y. Now, look at that! Before and after, you can see where we came. Now he looks like he's a wild animal. He's really starting to come out there. With the unedited version on the left, you can see that, you know, everything was in focus. You know, I was quite happy with that shot as a snapshot, but there was something more to this image. So I didn't just want it to sit in my library and just nothing happened to it. So I think what we've done to it today, I'm happy with it. He's now, you know, I brought him to life. Let's put it that way. And I'm happy to print that and put it on my wall. So there's only one more thing left to do. You press Y on keyboard to see how far you've come. Press Y again to let go of the past. Double tap L to accept your future. Thank you very much. I've been Stephen Morris. See you on the next video.